It featured Hamlin out in red again. Yeah, because a horse of ours, Zane won't go quite as far. I had him in my final four, therefore my bracket's broken, busted wide open, and I don't feel like what's left is strong enough, because it's broken, and I feel so dumb, and I don't feel smart. My hopes are gone away. They've gone away. I don't feel like I'm gonna win anymore.
Welcome on in, ladies and gentlemen, to another edition of the Front Stretch Happy Hour program. I'm your host, Mr. Brian Owen. We got a great show on tap for you. So without further ado, let's bring in my compadres, my co-hosts this evening. We'll start with the man on my top right on my screen, Mr. Michael Massey at M_Massey22. Mike, how are we this Tuesday night?
I'm doing pretty good. Had a great weekend at South Boston Speedway, where they had a Thunder Road Harley Davidson 200, their big Virginia Triple Crown race, and I ran into a certain guest of ours that you'll introduce in just a second.
I will. Before we dive into that guest, I'm going to bring in my other co-host, Mr. Dalton Hopkins. Mr. Hopkins, how are we on this Tuesday night?
Resonating with Michael Massey's song, just because my bracket is absolutely shattered, thanks to quite a few drivers. I swear, if that race ended 10 laps before it actually did, I would be so golden. So golden. I actually picked Ty Dillon over Denny Hamlin, and I don't know. Ty just decided to not have power steering anymore, so didn't work out for me all too well. But other than that, I'm actually doing pretty well. I am very excited for this weekend because it's 4th of July, and I am ready to get my patriotism on. So, but we got a great show. 250. That's right, man. And we got a good show lined up for you.
Let's bring in our guest at this time. He is the former anchor for the Performance Racing Network, like Mr. Michael Massey. He was in attendance in South Boston. Mr. Mark Garrow, one of our favorites. Thanks for coming on, Mark. How are you on this fine Tuesday?
I'm doing great, and it's good to be back with you guys.
The pleasure is all ours, and you said you had some thoughts about the race at South Boston. So I know Mr. Michael Massey was there. I watched it on Flow Racing, or should I say Amazon, that has Flow Racing. So what was on your mind? And then what'd you think of the race and then the entire event?
I thought the event was fantastic. I thought the racetrack was in great shape. I was excited to get back to South Boston, Virginia, where I broadcast some Busch Series races back in the late 80s, around 90, 91, that kind of thing. Tommy Ellis, I remember winning and climbing out of his car and screaming bloody murder about all the cheated up cars in the race. And I go, like, after I went, you do know you won, right? I mean, you're supposed to be happy in victory lane, but I guess that's why they called him Terrible Tommy Ellis. He had a terrible disposition all the time, win or lose. But I was certainly happy to be back there. I thought the track was fantastic, the big crowd, and great lineup of late models. I mean, a really all-star type deal. The number of cars, the caliber of the talent, everything was winner, chicken dinner, but the race. And there was a lot of great racing, most of it for fourth on back. And you had to kind of watch it a little bit. And of course, it's tough to follow on TV because you have to follow what's on the TV. But as participants there at the racetrack, as fans at the racetrack, we could kind of look around and see some of that stuff. But, you know, when are we going to learn? When are we going to learn? Racing, yes, is a sport, but it's in the entertainment business. That race was not entertaining. Caden Honeycutt, fantastic driver, one of the most versatile drivers that on the planet right now, right? Can jump in almost anything and run up front. So why don't we start him first and drop the green flag. Lead every lap. That's not a race. I'm sorry. I mean, I don't understand. They want to know what's wrong with short track racing down south. Up north, where I grew up, we handicapped all the races. The fast cars had to go to the back and come to the front, and everything was kind of handicapped and rotated every single week. You didn't have time trials. You know how many racetracks? All I need for the PR director to do is send me the name of the race, how many laps, and who won the pole, right? So I can go, hey, Joe Blow won the pole for the, Happy Chicken Dinner 200 at Hickory Motor Speedway and led every lap to win, right? Or just fill in the blank, whatever racetrack. Down south, I've never seen anything like it. And if we want to bring back short track racing, if we want to really put some sizzle into these late model circuits, and the competition, the cars are fantastic. The teams are absolutely top shelf. And Caden Honeycutt, this is not to take anything away from him. He's a fantastic driver. He led all 200 laps. The only excitement in the race, he started to fade at the end. And everybody with 10 laps to go, he's going to get him. He's going to get. I said, no, he's not, right? And they kept in the booth. I was with the Alan Kulwicki Driver Development Program. We had about 15 people there. He's going to get him. No, he's not, right? I mean, he just wasn't going to win that race. Caden Honeycutt did a great job. But you know what? I would think a whole lot more of Caden Honeycutt winning the pole, starting 10th, 8th, and then going on to win that race, as opposed to starting on the pole and leading every lap. The only cars the leader ever passed were cars he was lapping.
Yeah.
I'm sorry. That is no way to run a short track race, whether that's a regular Saturday night or whether that's a series like this Triple Crown series. And again, everything was top shelf. The track, the series, the cars, the drivers, the fans, and it was a successful night. But it could have been made a whole lot better if we knuckle down and stop letting the inmates run the asylum and stop putting the fast car up front. We don't have pit stops. We don't have things to kind of mix things up, to kind of generate flow forward and flow back. Right? So you put the fastest car up front. If those front 2 or 3 cars don't break, one of those guys or gals is going to win the race. It's that simple every time, every single time. And again, I emphasize not to take anything away from Caden Honeycutt or his team. They obviously did a great job, had a great race car, and he drove a great race. And he had to spend a lot of time fighting some pretty heavy traffic.
So my takeaway is that Mark Garrow hates Caden Honeycutt.
No.
I'm just kidding. I do think if there was
Mark
a
Garrow,
caution,
not a Caden Honeycutt fan.
I do think if they threw a caution with like 10 to 20 to go, it would have been interesting. Just because like Trevor Ward was coming, like you said, Landon Pemberton was coming. Or even like halfway, they all came and took tires. There should have been strategy to that. Like, hey, you can not take tires and get the lead, or something like that. Or hey, so I'm with you.
There's nothing there to kind of mix it up. There's no strategy involved in the process. And quite frankly, I want my winner to prove that he was a winning driver by passing for the lead, right? So top 8, top 10, top 12 cars, you invert them. Now, what you do is that for a big race like that, you go out and get a sponsor and you pay somebody $5,000 to win the pole. And in a Triple Crown series like this, you give them 10 bonus points for winning the pole. You have to give them incentive to win the pole if you're going to invert, whether it's 8, 10, or 12, because if not, they're going to try to figure out, okay, if we're going to invert 8, how do I be 8th in qualifying? How do I be, 7th, that kind of thing. So you incentivize with money and with points when it comes to a series, somebody winning the pole position, and then you send them back somewhere in the pack and make them come up through there and really prove they are the fastest car and the best driver that night.
Yeah.
And you could not there were so many fans there. It just absolutely blew my mind. It brought me back to the old Busch Series days when we would blow that place up with fans. And we do the same thing down the road at Rougemont. And the racing, and somebody asked me, said, wouldn't this be a great racetrack to do a throwback, O'Reilly Auto Parts Series or
Oh yeah.
or a Craftsman Truck Series race? And they said, don't you think Hickory and South Boston would be great places to do it? Now, I'm a fan of Hickory, but they could never hold it. They could never possibly even think about holding that kind of a race. South Boston could. And I think South Boston would be a great place to kind of do a throwback race for those series. And I think you'd blow the lid off the place. You'd have to put in a bunch of temporary grandstands, and they have the capacity to do that. They've got the parking to do that. And I think they'd be a great place. I'm a big fan of South Boston. I have from the first day I went there back in the 80s, and I renewed my love affair at South Boston the other night. I stood up there and I went, this is a really cool little short track.
I read an article yesterday. It was an up to speed article written by, I don't know, I guess it doesn't really matter. But it was about
That's just mean. Damn.
It was about it was Massey. But it was about O'Reilly, the O'Reilly Auto Parts itself, bringing kind of conjoining together the O'Reilly Auto Parts series and also the local, what is it, the local racing series now. It's not the weekly race.
Local race. Yeah, it used to be the weekly racing series. Now it's called the local racing.
Series. It kind of
presented by O'Reilly Auto Parts.
Presented by O'Reilly. And the idea that this madman who wrote this decided to say was have the O'Reilly series have a little bit more identity and give it some more short track races, just like it used to back in the late 90s, early 2000s. So, or I guess late 80s too. But like that was when it was its own thing. It wasn't always a support series for the Cup series. It was something else entirely. And it was still a stepping stone at the Cup, but it was that last edge where you're still at the short track level, but every once in a while you compete with the big guys. You go to Daytona, you go to Darlington, you go to Bristol, you sometimes every once in a while you support the Cup series. A lot of the time you're also racing at tracks like South Boston. So I don't know. I agreed with this absolute lunatic who wrote this article, but I actually agree with that. I thought that was one of the better points that Michael Massey has ever made, which is a very low bar.
A long time ago, I proposed, at Charlotte Motor Speedway, there were times during the Busch Series races and then later on Xfinity, especially a little bit later on when the Cup drivers were kind of taken out of the picture a little bit. You could throw grenades in the grandstands and not hurt nobody. And I always thought, what a great way to not only draw a bigger crowd, but it would be an event if you took this race, the Busch Series race, Xfinity Series race, up to Concord.
Yeah.
Right? Up to that speedway. And you put in some temporary grandstands, you'd put 20,000 people in there easy, and it would have been a show and a half, much more exciting, much more what the fans would want out of that race than you would have over at the big track. So I totally agree. I've said all along for the Truck Series, they need to reinvent themselves a little bit, and they need to do it by following the path they started, right? They'd be out in Tucson, right? And they'd have 8,000 fans, places packed. You're screaming bloody murder, and they're having a great time. It's a fantastic race. Wouldn't that be a way to pump some juice into the Craftsman Truck Series? Same thing for O'Reilly Auto Parts, and especially as you talk about trying to tie it in to the local tracks. And you'd have to pick the right ones. Certain ones would have the capacity to put in some temporary grandstands, would have the parking, the concessions, and different things that you'd have to do it. But it's possible, and it could be done. It would be huge. The problem is that the TV networks just want to put on a race. So their equipment's all set up at Charlotte Motor Speedway. So we're just going to, anything at Charlotte Motor Speedway, we're going to show going around in circles. They don't want to go up the road, even though it's 20 miles and reset. And it's expensive. I get it. But back in the day when we were doing South Boston with Capital Sports, and I talked them into bankrolling it and going to these short tracks. I went to TNN and went like, you need to put these on TV. Easy. 2 cameras up on top, right? 1 ISO camera and 1 pit camera. 4 cameras. Well, there it is. There, I had 3 fingers up. I had to count better. 4 cameras, and you could do the whole race. And what happens? TNN ends up doing those races. And so I kind of, back in the day, I was one of the first people to say, guys, do you know what a hidden gem these races are? This is some of the best racing we've got, and no radio coverage, no TV coverage. And so when people started discovering those races and TNN started putting them on TV, we started putting them on the radio. Then all of a sudden, they became a hot commodity. And, that was the beginning of what these big contracts are for what is now the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series. That was TNN going out there and not just doing the companion races, but putting the money into going to some of these short tracks. We should go back to that. We absolutely should go back to that. And there are some great tracks that could host these races. There really are.
Yeah. I would think it would be more possible now with it having its own TV deal. It's the CW only does O'Reilly, and I don't know. I guess they still use the same
remember
cameras.
if somebody at CW said, "Hey, we're going to spend the money and we're going to try to push this," it would happen, right? It would happen. And I think for both of those series, if they did, 3 or 4 of these throwbacks a year, heck, I'd settle for 1. But I think if they would do 1 to maybe 3 or 4. And again, there's some great racetracks that just need a little bit of help putting it together that could really get it done. I think South Boston, I'm in all seriousness, I think some people could come in there and help them with temporary seating and things like that. And it would blow the lid off that place. It's great viewing racetrack. You can put the big haulers in there in the middle. We saw that on Saturday night, and you still have a great view of the racetrack. And so nobody's going to get a bad view of the race. I just think it would be, again, winner, winner, chicken dinner. But again, I don't write the checks.
Really easy to spend other people's money.
It's easy, man. I'm telling you, no problem.
Let's dive on into our second topic of the evening. Once again, this show is presented by Billy's Tequila. Save 5% when you use the code RACER at billystequila.com. Mr. Michael Massey, and Dalton Hopkins, shout out to you boys for displaying that. Massey, let's have you introduce the second topic of the evening, my friend.
So the second topic is SVG, I believe.
That is correct. Good job.
So Mark, I don't know if you had a chance to watch Sunday or not, but there's more SVG, Shane van Gisbergen, dominance on a road course, but the gap's closing. Chase Briscoe, 2 more laps, 1 more lap. Maybe he gets there. Are the guys figuring him out? Or
is this like Caden Honeycutt at South Boston? He's gonna get him. He's gonna get him. No, he's not. No, he's not. Chase Briscoe drove a great race 2 years in a row, right? And believe me, if he got there, SVG would just, no, they're close. Yeah, are they closer? He is forcing them to get better. Everybody in the field is probably becoming a better road racer because of SVG. But guess what? He ain't standing still, boys and girls. Their chassis setups and things that they used last year aren't the same as what they're using now. They're not standing still. He's still a moving target, everybody, right? And the champ is still the champ until you knock him out. And another 5 laps, and Chase Briscoe was still not going to win the race. I would have loved to have seen it because I'm a Chase fan. But no, I think SVG always has something in his back pocket.
That is a horrifying thought, but it is one that it's not just you that said it, Mark. Kyle Larson even said it post race too, in which he said, look, these Chevrolet bodies, we're still figuring them out. The Toyotas were still the fastest all day. Yes, SVG still won, but the Toyotas were still pretty darn close to getting him at the very end. So even my point being is that SVG still had a car that clearly was not the best out of the rest of the field, and he still let, I think it was 74 laps. I want to believe I really want to believe that these guys are getting better at road course racing just because there is one guy who's just so good at it. They feel like, okay, we got to get better at this. We don't have a choice. We have to be better. At the same time, I don't think maybe that need is as prominent as it has been the last couple of years just because there's no road courses in the chase anymore. So what's even the point? I don't know. SVG is clearly still the best road course racer in the field and potentially in NASCAR history. Maybe that's up for debate, but at the same time, I do feel like it's not been on the level of dominance that it was in the last year. Maybe you could say it's because of the Chevrolet body. I don't know. It's kind of hard to tell. But the fact that there's less road courses kind of gives him a little bit less opportunity to show off his true road course prowess. Brian, what's your take on that?
I think it's just scary that SVG said his car was awful and he still won. Like and he said that his car was awful in qualifying and then it got better and better. But if his car was awful during the race and he still won, what would it be like if he had a car that was amazing? I mean, it is.
Mm-hmm.
I think that says a lot to not only his talent but also to the equipment that Trackhouse is bringing him. We all know Trackhouse has stepped down than they were 2, 3, 4 years ago. But I mean, the guy just has natural talent. And Mark, you've been around the sport for a long time. Where do you rank him among the best road course racers? I mean, you saw Jeff Gordon and Tony Stewart and even a guy like Marcus Ambrose. Where do you put him in the category of road course racers?
I think the two best road racers I've ever seen at the Cup Series level, you mentioned some great names, Elliott, Stewart, but I think Jeff Gordon and SVG are at the top of this board. I'll never forget a race at Watkins Glen where lap after lap, and Jeff Gordon, you have 10, 11 turns to mess up, and he ran the whole race within 1 to 2 tenths every lap. I mean, it was like a clinic.
Crazy.
He had corner perfect. He had every exit perfect. The car never slid. I mean, it was just one of those performances that most fans, they cheer Jeff Gordon and he wins the race. But aficionados of the race who like to dig a little deeper into the numbers, right? And you take a look at the lap times of that race. And even as the tires wore down, everything just stayed in this little window, lap after lap after lap. So I would love or would have loved to see Jeff Gordon, SVG lock horns because Jeff was so competitive of a race car driver. SVG would have to just rub his nose in it one time, one Chicago street race, and Jeff goes, you know what? That ain't happening again. We're gonna find a way to fix that. But I think SVG came along at the perfect time. The car's matching up to that supercar series so closely to everything he's already trained for his entire life. Because when you put him on an oval and he's getting better, but you saw how, again, you take a NASCAR guy, put him on the road course, they look like SVG going from the road course to the oval, right? You're a fish out of water. You're trying to figure out a whole new routine, chassis setups, how to drive the car, how to drive the racetracks. You're learning new racetracks. You're seeing tracks that you've never seen before. So I think SVG is an elite talent. And again, just everything came together at the right time, the type of car, and again, the gearbox, it's not, you're not shifting, over here and over there. You got sequential shifting, everything that he was trained for. And he's a great race driver, right? I mean, he is a great race driver when it comes to these kind of things. And just think about it. He wins that race Sunday in a car he didn't think was very good. Is his team even close to being one of the top Chevrolets right now? No. Right? Toyota obviously has everybody's butt kicked right now, almost everywhere. They've got the fastest cars. They've got basically the best chassis setups. Joe Gibbs Racing is on rails right now, so is 2311, and yet he still won. And it kind of reminded me of back in the days, one of the few race drivers I could see put a car on his back and still win with a car that shouldn't have won. I remember Cale Yarborough. Climbing out of the car, his hands all bloodied with blisters, just taking this thing and wrestling a 5th, 6th, 7th place car and somehow finding a way to win. And SVG reminded me of that Sunday. You could tell that car was not nearly as good as some of the cars behind him, but his talent level, his willingness to put that car on the edge, and his just absolutely never say die attitude about giving up the lead led to him winning that race. He certainly didn't have the elite car, but he was the elite driver.
If the scary thought is if you put him in that 19 Toyota, what would happen then? That would be, he might lap the field. But the name that Mike Joy always throws out is Dan Gurney. And I know that was before your time, Mark.
No, it wasn't. I'd like to say it wasn't. Dan? I saw Dan Gurney, I believe, race one time out at Riverside. Yeah.
Okay.
This goes back to the early mid 80s, something like that. I believe I did see Dan race. Yeah.
Okay. So from what you saw from Dan Gurney, we never got to see Dan Gurney race, the three of us. But from what you saw, from what you heard about him, how would he hold a candle to SVG?
Well, look, Dan Gurney is one of the all-time greats, period, stop, drop the mic, right? He could jump in just about anything. I just don't think we saw enough of a sample of Dan Gurney in a stock car, to really form any kind of opinion on that, right? I mean, we saw Rutherford, Andretti, Foyt. I would have loved to see them run more stock car races because it would have made things a lot more interesting. That's one of the things I think that would immensely help IndyCar and NASCAR kind of put a little juice back in if we had some crossover things going on. We certainly have drivers in both series that could go back and forth a little bit. And I think that would make things a lot more interesting. That was so much fun back in the day, right? So you have Andretti showing up at Daytona to take on Pearson and Petty, and Rutherford would be there, and AJ Foyt, things like that. Then you'd have Bobby Allison, Donnie Allison crossing over, running the Indy 500. That kind of thing today is probably not possible because of different contracts and just people stuck in the mud and not willing to really take an open mind about it. But that would be fantastic, I think, for both series if there would be some of that crossover, because it just brings new fans. It's like Kyle Larson going out and running all these sprint car races, right? He's like Johnny Appleseed, man. He's dropping seeds, for new NASCAR fans and new short track fans everywhere he goes when he does that. And that really certainly helps everybody, right? When he goes and races a short track, it helps that short track. It helps the series that he's, of course, running. And then, of course, it helps seed. The person that's at that short track is a perfect person to go buy a ticket and watch a NASCAR race, right? I mean, they're already a race fan, and you're trying to upsell them to something bigger. So I would love to see some of that crossover right now. But look, Gurney, Andretti, Foyt, would I have loved to see a bigger sample size for those guys running more races? David Pearson one time said he let Mario Andretti win the Daytona 500. He said Mario was on a bonsai mission that day, and it was like he thought Mario was willing to die. But if anybody was going to take the lead for Mario, he was going to take him out to Lake Lloyd and put them both in it before it was over. Said, they didn't dare to pass him. He said Mario was a weapon all day long. Nobody dared to pass him. So I don't know. That's what David said. Don't know the truth behind it, but I would have loved to see more of Mario. And I grew up a Mario fan because I grew up in an Italian neighborhood. I got an Italian family. I went to a Catholic church, and the priest, when Mario was racing, especially F1 races, he would stand up in the pulpit and say, "We need to pray for Mario today. He's running Monza." Or, "We need to pray for Mario today. He's running in South Africa," or whatever. And I hope one day to be able to meet Mario and tell him that as a little kid, our little church in Nowhere, Vermont, was praying for Mario when he was driving the F1 cars.
I will take that argument, the argument that we don't see enough crossover, and I will raise you a point that I think we do see that crossover quite a bit nowadays, but we don't notice it enough because they're not as successful. If you take a look back then, Dan Gurney could get in a race car, get in a stock car, and he could kick absolute ass. Mario Andretti can get in a stock car, he could kick absolute ass. Not really the same with Donnie Allison and Cale Yarborough in the IndyCar. It's definitely not the same thing. They definitely could not.
You need to look at the stat book, my friend. You need to look
You're
at
right.
the stat book.
You're right. I do.
Okay,
well, top. Okay, then there's some little bit of skill there. But at the same time, look at today. I think you don't notice it enough like as for everyone, we don't really appreciate it enough, just because look at what happened at San Diego. We had Kevin Magnussen in the car, and he didn't. I mean, he did okay, but he didn't. He finished the race, but he didn't necessarily. He didn't turn heads. You know, Kimi Räikkönen's been in the car. He didn't really do a whole lot either. Jenson Button. These are Formula One champions.
Yeah, we should make a bigger deal about that. You know what? I blame the press. I'm like, do you guys understand who these guys are?
Mark, honest to God, I tried my best. I put a camera there. I mean, there was some yelling going on, but I did the best I could. No, but I mean, and then you look at Kyle Larson trying the Indy 500. Now, I agree. I think a NASCAR driver should be in the Indy 500 every single year. I don't know who does it. I don't know who funds it, but we should at least have that attempt. Kyle Larson's done it 2 years now. It's time for someone else to try it out. But my point being is that that line used to be about here. That blurred line used to be about here. Now it's way out here, because these guys are so focused on one racing discipline and stock car racing, and the open wheel guys are so focused on open wheel racing that they don't really know how to divert that. They don't really know how to get away from that. Back then, as you explained, Mark, everyone was just racing whatever was on four wheels, because honestly, racing was kind of a relatively new thing, at least in cars.
And that's how they made money. Understand, they were professional race drivers, and there wasn't the really big money, so they had to race a lot to keep putting cash in their pockets. And I will say to you that today, because of the success of the World of Outlaws, and you got Kyle's series, these guys are making money now. These sprint car drivers are making real money, right? And so that is another reason why it's this wide, right? Because they're going like, no, I could run NASCAR, but I make more money over here. As crazy as it sounds.
There's a dirt track race on Wednesday night. Well, Dad's got to pay for food on the table. Let's go out there.
You know how many times I chased Bobby Allison to Fonda, New York, and all these other places he'd run modified. I mean, the man raced 5 nights a week. It's crazy. I spent a week jumping around with him in a plane one time. It was absolutely nuts what the man did. I think he would have drove a street stock if somebody he had an open date and somebody gave him an offer. He'd erase anything.
My final thought on this, Brian. I'm sure Brian, I'll let you say what you want. I'm sorry, I'm kind of cut you off there, but I just want to say, like, that. All that said, that really goes to show how good of a talent SVG is. Just because, yes, he is used to the supercars, but he is able to get into a NASCAR Cup Series car, a car he has never raced before, and immediately win and kick everybody's ass. So the fact that we are, when did he win Chicago? 3 years ago. Actually, like as of this week, 3 years ago, he won his first NASCAR Cup Series race in his first start. And here we are. It's crazy to me that 3 years later, we're talking about him potentially being the best road racer in NASCAR's history. That is absolutely wild to me. If that doesn't showcase his talent, I don't really know what does.
With that being said, let's dive on into our next topic of this evening's program. Once again, we all know that SVG dominated the race, but let's look back overall and on the aspect of Sonoma. When we go to Sonoma, obviously people are going to expect SVG, but I wanted to get your guys' thoughts on just Sonoma in itself, because it feels like nothing. I don't want to say nothing really happens, but I mean, it's just kind of like, okay, it's Sonoma. Like there's nothing like excitement going around like this upcoming weekend of Chicagoland, where we're all like, oh, what's going to happen? This is going to be crazy. Sonoma's like, okay, sure. We're going to go out to wine country. It's going to be fine. It's going to be nice scenic views. What does the future hold for Sonoma? What should we do with Sonoma? Should we just continue to go back there, do something else? I think there's probably another awesome road course a couple hours away in Monterey. I wanted to, Mark, we'll get your thoughts. Where does Sonoma fit in the schedule, if it fits at all?
I think it should always fit in there because, number one, we need the California market. Speedway Motorsports does the best job when it comes to putting on these road races. I think Sonoma is one of the best viewing racetracks you can possibly have. You can take one of those seats at the top of the course, see almost the entire course. You can take a high grandstand seat, see a lot of it from the front straightaway. And again, we need some consistency in the California market. We don't have anything in the South right now. There's no Fontana. We took our shot now at San Diego. We've done the Los Angeles Coliseum. There's nothing set down there. So I think we need some consistency in the fact that we need that Sonoma race just for that. And again, I think it's one of the best road courses that we have. And after the Roval, I think it's the best viewing road course you can possibly have. Now, I was disappointed by what I saw, lack of crowd on Sunday. And I knew instantly there wasn't much crowd because that's when the TV cameras bore in on the cars and don't show you the grandstands.
Mhm.
You can always tell when there's a crowd, the shots always expanded just a little bit. And when I saw them going tight all around the course, I'm going like, okay. And then there was a few shots of the concrete in different places down through the S's. And so that was kind of disappointing because it is a nice experience out there. It's a great, part of the country. But, I will say this, I have no problem not flying into the San Francisco airport again. I have no problem with that. Driving through San Francisco, driving through all the homeless campers on the way to the gateway, the Golden Gate Bridge.
You're not wrong.
Guys
That's how I feel
popping
about
out
San
the
Diego.
door. Guys popping out the door, take a dump on the sidewalk, go back inside. I won't miss that at all. There's no question about that. But I think Sonoma deserves a spot on the. It's a great racetrack. They put a lot of money into it. They put a lot into, putting on that event. And I admit I'm a little pro Speedway Motorsports. I mean, that's who I worked for a long, long time. But just calling a ball and strike, I still think that Sonoma deserves a place on the schedule.
Massey, Dalton, I don't think you guys have been there. I've been there,
Nope.
I think, a few times, and it is a fantastic venue. I mean, the views are amazing. But is the racing up to par? Dalton, I'll start with you. What do you do, or should I say, what do we do with Sonoma?
Change the car.
Okay, that's not going to happen. But let's try. Dalton, let's try this again. What do you do with Sonoma, Dalton?
Here's what you do: you put them in late models, and you take turn 11, and you put another bend around it, and you make it into a short track. There you go.
Oh, wow. I like that.
Yeah,
guys, the
yeah.
problem that we're having right now, these cars are not good on short tracks and they're not good on road courses,
Yeah.
right? They
Yeah.
don't put on a show. That is, and I thought when they came up with this new car, I said, okay, when it comes to short track, we pull out 1,000 pounds, right? We make them a lot lighter, right? More nimble, like a late model for the short tracks. For, again, the road courses, we pull out, 1,000 pounds, let them redistribute the other weight that they have around the car, again, to make them more nimble of a road race car. And I think most of the problem right now is the car.
Yeah,
I
I agree with that.
I will, Brian, it's kind of like, it's interesting that we kind of were texting during the race, and we were talking about like the overall quality of racing, and I was like, yeah, Sonoma has a good race like once every 10 years or so. Because like, I mean, there have been good races. I mean, 2016 Stewart versus Hamlin. Ricky Rudd, Davey Allison.
Oh, there's
Right.
one. So you beat me to that one. All right.
Yeah. See, I know a little bit of history. I'm not.
See, right there, Dalton. That's my argument. What else is there besides those two?
I mean,
Ricky and
my
Rusty
point.
had a good one in '89.
Ricky Rudd, Jerry Nadeau almost won,
Oh,
and then
Jerry
his
Nadeau
engine
won.
went flat.
Oh,
I mean,
Nadeau.
I wouldn't constitute that as a good race, but
It was a good story.
it was a good story.
And look, our Australian going up the hill and
Suarez.
shutting his engine off. That was the one I'll never forget.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that
that
was
was
a
bad.
heartbreaker. But
Yeah.
Marcos, what are we doing? Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know,
goodness.
Marcos.
Yeah.
Let me ask you something, guys. In general, let me ask you guys this. How many races this year have set your hair on fire? That you sat down and went after the race and
Oh,
went like,
man.
whoa, man, what a show. How many?
I'd say
Man, I gotta look back.
maybe like 3.
I mean,
Yeah,
San
like,
Diego,
Off the top of my head, like
Atlanta,
Daytona 500.
Daytona.
4. San Diego,
the-
I would say.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I would say for sure. Yeah, I would say Sandy. I'm looking back now. Oh my goodness.
One of those
Daytona.
one of those Denny wins in the 3 in a row.
Charlotte.
Was pretty good.
I thought
Charlotte
the
was good.
600 kind of did pretty well.
Yeah,
I
the rain
think-
kinda ruined
Talladega.
the ending, but yeah,
I don't
Talladega,
know.
the front
They
row.
can't go 3 wide at Talladega. What in the world are we doing?
Talladega,
If
But
you're
we
not
got a
racing 3
first-time
wide at
winner.
Talladega, what are
We
we
did.
doing?
but the front row with 40 to go was the front row on the last lap because nobody
Bristol.
could move.
Oh, Nashville.
Bristol is good.
Bristol was pretty good.
But
But
see
now-
how hard you're having to work
Yes,
for that?
yeah.
Yes.
See how
correct.
hard you're having to work for
yes.
that?
Yes.
I mean, it's funny now that I have a complete outside looking in view and I'm watching it on TV and I go, is there anything else on? You know, I'm flicking channels. I'm going, right? I'm watching the end of the stages and, you know,
Yep.
I mean, you know,
Based
it's
on the
not as bad
rating
as Formula
Sunday.
One, where you watch the race to turn one and you watch the one and only pit stop, and then the race is over, and then you switch off to something else. But you know, I think NASCAR has some issues right now, man. We're again, I go back to what I said about South Boston. We're in the entertainment business, right? And a lot of these races not very entertaining, I don't think. So
Yeah, and I think based on Talladega, Noah Coleman said on Twitter, the celebration in winter was good, not the race. And that's the thing. Like Mark was saying, we're in the entertainment business. That
point.
was the best part of the race. We're not talking about the race. We're talking about hosts of our celebrating.
Well,
and
right.
I think, and
The ARCA
which
race
is,
was awesome.
we're not
No,
talking.
yeah,
I mean,
the
you're not
ARCA
wrong.
race was
Okay, I'm
awesome.
just
You're
saying.
not
I'm just
wrong.
Cletus
Dog.
Mania.
The ARCA
Right
race
on.
was. I mean, I can't believe I'm saying this. Sorry, Mark Crystal. Shout out to Mark. But I mean, the ARCA race was incredible. But
It was
I
the best race.
mean, yeah. But like Mark was saying, it was like when you actually think which races were amazing, you only can get like 3 to 4.
Yeah. And Mark, you were saying that you're thinking about what else is on. If you look at the ratings of this past weekend, you're not the only one that was thinking that. People decided to watch a bunch of guys run around chasing a ball and not score any goals or ever than watch race cars on a track. And that's crazy.
Confirmed. Michael Massey hates the United States soccer team. Confirmed.
No,
Michael
they weren't
Massey
playing.
hates USA.
No, I
They
will be
weren't
watching
playing.
tomorrow.
I'm
and
just saying.
cheering them
Just
on.
saying.
Yeah,
Look,
guys, again, you know, we're in the entertainment business, and I just look at it right now. And, you know, how many times have we said, you know, that truck race was better than the Cup race, right?
O'Reilly.
And there are times
Yeah.
where the O'Reilly Auto Parts Series puts
Mhm.
on a better race,
Almost
and
weekly.
but they're not the straw that stirs the drink, right? I mean, they're
Yeah.
not the one that, you know, helps us rain money on everything with the Cup Series, and you know. It's frustrating to watch it, man, because I'm a fan. I mean, I'm 67 years old. I went to the racetrack for the first time when I was 1. I have been around it, and that's why I want to go back and do more short track stuff. I was highly entertained by what happened at South Boston on Saturday night. I thought the racing was great, and I thought Caden Honeycutt stunk up a show that, you know, again, you give him a stacked deck. Great driver, great car. Start him on the pole, let it rip, right? So there was no entertainment value as far as who was going to win the race per se until the end when everybody started going, he's going to catch him. And I'm going like, you guys are out of your mind, right? Just like Chase Briscoe trying to catch SVG at the end. Give him 5 laps, give him 10, give him 20. It was still going to turn out to be the same way. And I would have loved to see Chase beat him, but it was going to turn out to be the same way. And I think racing in general, you know, sometimes forget people want to talk about it being in a sport, but we are trying to draw people away from the movie theater, away from the soccer fields, away from the football fields. We're in the entertainment business. And there are times right now, especially on some of these weekly shows at these short tracks, there's absolutely zero entertainment value. And they're wondering why there's only 600, 800 people in the grandstands and maybe 50 cars for 5 divisions in the pit area, right? And the only short track in America, right, that entertains every week and they pile in, Bowman Gray, just up the road from me. I mean, it's a show every week, not a race. It's a show. It's a show, right? They're in the entertainment business up there, right? And so, again, I think in general, racing needs to, you know, take a hard look at that. I really believe that NASCAR at its highest levels know and realize and probably wouldn't disagree if we were on a mountaintop and nobody else would hear whether they agreed with us or not. They'd probably agree with a lot of what we've talked about. They just would. It's there.
I don't think anybody's gonna disagree with that. I will say there's been some interesting stuff brought up. I've seen a lot of our columns have come up and said, "Hey, did you know that this was actually the last road course race of the season?" Which is like, okay, yeah, we kind of knew that already, but at the same time, I still feel like I do wish there was one more. I know this car is not the best on road courses. I'm aware of that, but at the same time, I am adamant that you should have at least a road course in the playoff or in the chase now. And Sonoma, I will agree with everything that's been said so far. I think Sonoma should still be on the schedule just because of its historic value. It's been on the schedule not as long as Watkins Glen, but it's been on the schedule for a very long time. One of the longest running road courses in the sport, and it deserves. It has a little bit of that value to it. It is a little bit of historical value to it. But we should add one more road course. I don't know where. Oh boy, what?
I was gonna say let's swap the dates of Sonoma and Coda, and run Sonoma when it's beautiful out there.
The problem is it's going to be all wet and muddy for the campers and everything. You want it to be like Watkins Glen?
Well, no, I agree.
Exactly.
Yeah. I thought wet for the cars for the rain.
I mean, no, it would be cool, but I mean, like all the campers and everything, they'd be stuck and everything. Right. It'd be a nightmare. Yeah. Like as much as I would love it too, I just don't think it's feasible.
Yeah, you're right.
But in Watkins Glen is going back in the playoffs next year. That's a good move. I think that's a track that the fans there are awesome. That's some of the best fans in all of NASCAR.
Beautiful area.
Yeah. For sure.
Gorgeous.
I think you could make an argument we don't need a road course at all.
Oh boy.
Okay.
I disagree with that. Why is that, Mark?
Mark, you started where there was just 2 road courses a year, Sonoma and Watkins Glen.
Yeah, and at that point, I'm going to be 100% truthful now. I used to think that putting stock cars on a road course was like taking Secretariat, bringing that horse down to the local amusement park and have them do kiddie rides. You know, I mean, the car, they just, you got a thoroughbred race car for ovals and you put them on the, and the racing, when they first started doing this stuff, it was pretty crazy. I mean, I got a chance to see some of the iconic, I would broadcast races at Riverside, right? I was there when Rusty Wallace won the last race at Riverside. And that was a pretty cool little road course. It was kind of like Sonoma, kind of uphill, downhill, except they kept the sand dunes in the middle. And I'm sort of in the middle part of the racetrack. And I was up on a stand and people would throw rocks at me and hit me in the back when they saw dust flying on the front stretch. And so while I'm broadcasting the race, they'd be throwing rocks. I'd turn around, they'd be going, what happened? What happened? Right. So I'd give them a quick little play-by-play of what happened, then put my headsets back on and actually do what I was supposed to be doing. So I wasn't a big fan of the road courses back then at all. I've grown to like them a little bit. I still think that, that they're meant for ovals. That's where thoroughbred, just oval track cars. Right now, my favorite racetrack on the whole series, I love Daytona. Daytona's Daytona. They took the teeth out of Bristol, right? So they kind of defanged Bristol a long time ago. It's still great racing. It's sort of like a ballet now, where it used to be a slam dance, right? And the fans want the slam dance, not the ballet. If you look at it from a racing standpoint, some really cool stuff these guys are doing on that racetrack as far as driving ability. But my favorite racetrack right now is Atlanta Motor Speedway. I don't know how you have a bad race at Atlanta Motor Speedway. The leader can't get away. And it, to me right now, the number one racetrack for racing and entertainment intersecting for a great show, in my opinion, is Atlanta Motor Speedway.
I mean, I couldn't have said it better. Every single race there is a barn burner.
Very few people will disagree with that.
From now on, if we want Mark's attention, we know to just throw a rock at him.
There you
go.
If
I had a nickel for every rock that's been thrown at me, boys, I wouldn't be doing this show. I'd be sipping a mojito somewhere on a Caribbean island.
Honestly, fair. I don't blame you. With that being said, Mark, where are we going to be able to find you? Do you have any projects coming up that we will be able to hear you? Or what is in the life of Mark Garrow doing these days?
Well, honestly, the only thing I can tell you for sure is that starting at about the 1st of August until first week in May, second week of May in 2027, I'll do anywhere from 150 to 160 volleyball matches. I'll be involved in refereeing and doing that, which I've sort of, I don't know how to do anything average, right? You always got to try to be getting better. So I'm trying to climb up the ladder as far as my affiliations, and they grade you and they do all that kind of stuff. So last year, I was able to referee a girls' quarterfinal in the North Carolina State High School. For boys in May, I got a chance to do the state semifinal, which was the Western final with boys. So that was, so I'm inching closer to maybe a state championship one day, which is my goal as far as high school is concerned. So that's kind of what I'm working towards there. And I really enjoy. I do everything from middle school girls all the way up to, high school girls, high school boys, and just kind of USA volleyball, the big tournament traveling teams and stuff on the weekend. But as far as racing, I stepped back from it. I said, I'm going to make a clean break and see how long it takes me to get the itch. Now, the South Boston race was the first oval track race I had been back to since I walked away from Martinsville Speedway last fall. I went to the 4-wide Nationals. Scott Cooper and all his great folks down there hooked me up to go to the 4-wide Nationals, which was on my bucket list. I never got to go because we were always at a NASCAR race. That whole thing blew me away. And what they've got going on in the NHRA, I mean, there's a lot of great entertainment value going on right there. They're doing a great job. And but South Boston was the first oval track race, and I tried to pull back as far as I could. And once I got to South Boston, I'm going, I got to get back in the short track somehow, man. I have got to figure out a deal somehow. And I figured maybe one of these short track series or, one of these TV deals or something could use somebody with a little bit of experience to talk about it. But I would really love to get back into some short track. That's where I came from. My dad was a flagman. My mom was a scorer at the local racetrack in the town that I grew up in. That's the only thing I knew until I was, 16, 17 years old, was going to that racetrack every Saturday night. Then I got a chance to run it, Claremont Speedway in New Hampshire, for a couple of years. So my heart has always been in the short tracks. It's where I came from. I love short track drivers. They're a different breed of cat than just about anybody else on the planet. So I hope one day to kind of land something there and have a little bit of fun with the short tracks, but nothing yet, nothing right now. Anybody, it's Guru Garrow on Twitter or X, and call up Massey, and he's got my phone number. Dalton got my Brian. You three got my phone number. So if anybody's interested, just call those three. And you guys can have a 10% cut of anything that happens. All right.
I am totally down.
Let's do it.
I'm going to be a salesman for you now. Any place, anywhere.
If anyone at Flow Racing is listening, give them a call.
We'll do trackside happy hours.
I actually Facebook messengered Ward Burton, who's always been a great friend. I saw he's running this big race at the end of the year at South Boston. I Facebook met, dude, if you need me for anything, count me in. So who knows? But I'd love to go back to the short tracks. I'd love to either promote a short track, do some short track broadcasting, just anything that would be involved with a short track would be fun to go back to. Be a nice golf game, in my retirement kind of thing.
I like it.
That'd be awesome.
Well, Mark, thank you so much for coming on. We'll definitely have you on again, and like you said, he is available for hire. So
also for kids parties and bar mitzvahs.
Sure.
I'm good for that too.
Okay, that works as well. Once again, big thanks to Mark Garrow. When we come back, we're going to be diving on into our in-season bracket, and we'll give you an update on where we stand in the Front Stretch Network for all of our podcasts. We're doing a little bit of a competition that's coming up here on the Front Stretch Happy Hour program.
if our producer is listening to the show
Man,
right
I
now.
hope
From
he
the
is.
agave fields of Jalisco, Billy's Tequila. Perfect in a margarita or straight over ice. Celebrate the race of life with Billy's. Use code RACER for 5% off at billystequila.com. Please enjoy responsibly.
Once again, big thanks to Mr. Mark Garrow from PRN, or formerly of PRN. Again, bringing the
Oh, yeah,
fellas
that's that, huh?
back here. Michael Massey, Dalton Hopkins, Trey Lyle is producing this godforsaken program, and let's dive on into our in-season bracket challenge.
Do we
fellas,
have
how
to?
did I mean, we don't
We actually
have
didn't
to.
do too bad.
We did.
Apparently, Dalton
Not as
Hopkins
bad as
has
me.
Dalton Hopkins has a vendetta against Ty Dillon, but that's a story for a different day.
Just push the gas pedal a little bit harder, okay? Hamlin was what freaking 30th? You couldn't. I'm good. I'm cool.
Dalton,
cool.
take a breath.
I'm
Breathe
cool.
in.
We're good.
Breathe in.
We're good.
Breathe out. It's okay.
We're good. But don't worry,
Massey,
I'll come back in a few minutes.
Massey, I got terrible eyesight, so can you recap this? Because for the love of God, I can't see.
Okay, so we picked Tyler Reddick, and we were wrong there. Alex Bowman beat him. That was the number one seed.
You guys just want like here. You know what? I'm gonna share it because I got it up right now.
What?
I got the update. I got it. Like it shows the results.
This shows
that's what I'm gonna do.
It has red and green.
We're gonna do that right now. Okay, there we go.
That's what we're just looking at.
No, see now you've got these are updated. It actually shows the results. It shows where we were wrong.
It's harder to read now. It's like
I give up. I give up.
Actually try.
But yeah, so we picked Tyler Reddick over Alex Bowman, and
see it shows right there Alex Bowman instead of Tyler Reddick. It's got Reddick crossed out. You're welcome.
So we were the Reddick's problems, mechanical issues messed us and a whole lot of other people up. But at least we didn't have him going super far. Cindric and Brad Keselowski, they were actually battling it out on the racetrack, getting physical. We picked Keselowski for that one, and we were wrong, right?
Wrong.
Yeah. And then Daniel Suarez, Todd Gilliland. We picked Todd, and we were right. It looks like. I assume the green means we're right.
Trey, can you help us? We're not the brightest
If you just look, it just says Todd Gilliland, yes, beat Daniel Suarez right there. It says it right there. You see his name?
But how do we know who we picked?
Because who you picked is crossed out right next to it.
So we picked
Suarez. Why is it teal, though? Why is it teal?
The colors are throwing me.
Are you 55 years old? Does it matter?
Okay, so we picked
sound
Suarez.
Like a bunch of 60-year-olds. I can't read that.
We picked Suarez.
I read newspapers, Dalton, so I act like 55.
Yeah, we were wrong about Suarez. And he was I think so. And the Hocevar Zane Smith looks like we were right on that account. Was we picked Hocevar. And then the Briscoe Allmendinger, that's one that got us because you thought after the top 5 at the street course San Diego that Allmendinger is going to have it again. Briscoe finishes second. But that's not a huge loss because I think we had Allmendinger out the next round anyways. It's going to hurt us if Briscoe goes on a run, but Ty Gibbs, Austin Dillon, we got that one. Bubba Wallace, Michael McDowell, we got that one. Yeah, Bubba had a rough weekend. Chase Elliott and Noah Gregson, we got that one. Denny and Ty Dillon, we don't need to talk about that one. Hey, I will say, shout out Brad Keselowski for knocking Hocevar into Denny Hamlin and giving us hope there.
True.
But, Eric Jones and Joey Logano, we got that one right. And that's gonna hurt us this week when it's Denny versus Jones because we got Jones going another round.
You never know. Anything can happen. Ty Dillon almost won, right, Dalton?
That's true.
Yeah, he should have won.
Busher over JHN. We got that. Well, the worst part is I think I steered you guys wrong last week because Bell Chastain. I was saying Bell was hurt and he wasn't going to do anything, and he beat Chastain.
I said Christopher Bell was going to do just fine because he wasn't going to have the cast on.
He did have the
I
cast
said
on.
that. And then you guys were like, no, he's hurt. He's hurt.
To be fair, he did have the cast on, but he was he still
was
got a top
fine.
5.
He
So
was
my
fine.
apologies. Then we got Byron and Stenhouse. We got that. Larson and Herbst got that one right. So hey, we're doing pretty good on this side. We nailed all 4 on this side of the bracket. SVG over Priest.
That was like, there's no way.
Priest had a really good race. He was 7.
He did. You're right. Yeah, all would have taken is SVG to have like had an incident like he did at San Diego, and there'd have been way more brackets busted.
Mm-hmm. And then Blaney and Barry, we got Blaney. So the bottom right, we're doing really good still, which is good. Our final 4 is still all alive.
I would say the whole right side we didn't do too bad. We only missed 2.
Yeah, that's pretty good. Now the left side, where it's a little different story, but I think we're in second place in the front stretch standings right now.
Yes,
even though we have the most points.
As a matter of fact, give me 1 second. There you go. There's their league standings right now. And as you can see, we are second place, well ahead of everyone. Even though we have this many points, we have more points remaining than Mike Neff's Myrtle Beach Earnhardt's. We're still second. So
he's leading now, but he won't hold that lead.
He won't be next.
We have the most available points remaining.
Surprisingly enough,
on that.
The open wheel side is actually tied with I don't know how that makes sense, but okay. Like we still have way more points remaining, so but
that's
the pit
why
straight
we're ahead of them because we have more points remaining.
Yeah,
exactly. But the pit straight is technically third, not second.
I don't know.
And then
pit straight in my head
second because we all have the same amount of points, Dalton.
Well, pit straight might be maybe they had Ty Dillon going all the way to the final or something, and that's what killed them.
Can we look? We can look.
Ooh.
They picked Hamlin.
Wow.
They got 2 out of their final 4 gone already.
Okay, they had Bubba. They had Bubba going to the final 4.
To be, honestly, that's not that. Oh, they did have Bubba and Reddick going to the final.
This is
4.
why they follow IndyCar, not NASCAR.
Yeah.
They
almost lost their champion too.
Yeah. Let's see. Any other outrageous?
Let's look at through the gears because they have the lowest amount of points.
Yeah.
All right.
And that's Michael Belfamini. He's Belfamini.
Oh boy.
Our betting expert.
Man. Whoa.
He lost the champion.
Whoa.
Oh,
SVG in the final 4?
Good Lord.
And they have Logano win. Oh boy. Oh, jeez.
Okay, so I think we've got the podcast that's going to be getting the punishment. I'm sorry, Michael.
What's the punishment? Do we even know what the punishment is yet?
It sounds like it's going to be you got to call a random race on the YouTube.
I still think a ball to the balls.
You got to call a random race?
Yeah,
like as a commentator?
Like boring. Well, like watch party, I guess.
That's not having an afternoon with Mike Neff is not that much of a punishment. I'm sorry.
Can we do like a pie to the face or a ball to the balls?
Let's have them do that Waffle House challenge where somebody goes to Waffle House and they have to eat
a tattoo.
I think spending the day with Brian Nolan would be a great punishment.
I'm a great time.
Something.
I'm a great time.
What about a ball to the face and a pie to the
ball to the face and a pie to the balls? Michael Massey lingo right there. With that being said, let's. Oh God, Trey.
Well, what are we looking at this week? Look at. Let's go back to ours for this. Let's see what we got for this week.
Not anymore. All right, hold on.
There we go. Okay, let's see. I'm still blind. We have God. I hate. Massey. I can't.
This is not that hard to look at.
I can't read. I'm gonna be like this.
You can't read regardless.
Shout out Mark Crystal. You know.
So, anyways, we're gonna have. So that's gonna hurt us because we've got Reddick moving on the left side.
Well, this one might not.
I like to read left to right, and not right to left.
All right. I just see the ones that I just saw like the biggest loss of ours. But yeah, okay. All right.
Reddick's a big loss because we got him going.
It is.
for the next round.
And this I think this will continue to
but
I don't
only
know.
one more round.
I mean, Bowman is the most recent winner there. So he knows how to win there.
It does. So that doesn't matter between Bowman and Cindric. We don't get points either way.
We don't? Didn't we pick Cindric?
But we didn't pick him to win round 2.
No, yeah. I mean, no, I guess that's true.
Yeah, so
I hate everybody.
Hurt either way. Then you've got Gilliland and Hocevar. We need Hocevar to win.
I think that's
will.
pretty safe.
And then Briscoe Ty Gibbs. We need Ty Gibbs to win, and I'm not feeling great about that one.
Mm-hmm.
I feel like
I don't know. Gibbs has had a pretty good speed this year. That's one of those things where it's like I would agree Briscoe I think is the favorite, but I could definitely see Ty Gibbs still pulling it off. He's the higher seed than Briscoe.
Yeah.
So
that's true.
Maybe he is the favorite.
And then McDowell Elliott, I feel pretty good about Elliott.
Mm-hmm. I agree.
And then Hamlin Jones, we've got Jones winning. That's probably the biggest upset we need, right?
Yeah, I think something needs to happen to Hamlin.
Yeah,
for us to still win that one. Then
Buescher Bell. I don't feel good about Buescher over Bell at this point, just because the Toyotas are so fast.
Mm-hmm.
You never know. Big wreck could happen though.
Yeah, and that's kind of I think that's kind of what we're hoping for is for an incident between Hamlin and Bell.
Yeah, Byron Larson. I feel like Larson's the favorite, but Byron needs a bounce back pretty bad.
Yep.
And Larson's had a bunch of consecutive top 5, so I feel like he's due a bad week. So I'm a little uneasy there. SVG and Blaney, I feel good about us on that one. With Blaney, we're moving on.
I just got a weird feeling SVG is going to move on. I don't know why.
I would normally agree, but to be honest, I think that's actually a lot closer than we think it is. I feel like SVG is a lot better on the ovals, especially the 1.5 miles. So I don't think it's that far fetched to think that there's a chance that if Blaney has a bad race.
Selfishly, I hope Ryan Blaney because we picked him.
Yeah,
that's our champion.
Right.
But I mean,
he is our champion. Oh boy. We got a lot riding on this one.
I know. But I mean, SVG, I do think SVG could maybe give him a little bit of heat.
Hey,
yeah.
12 pit crew. We're looking at you this weekend.
Yeah.
We will literally chop something off if
They've cleaned it up.
Crew.
They've cleaned it up.
No, they swear to God they better continue or else there will be pain.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to bring the Hall of Pain to them.
I think every single one of those guys in that pit crew is way stronger than you, Brian.
I don't care.
I think they got you beat.
I can do some steroids.
I bet they have also done steroids in the past, buddy. In fact, they're past that phase. They're at the end stage of the steroids.
But if it's an arm wrestling competition, Brian's right arm has a good chance against them. But
left arm, actually, not right arm. Left arm.
Left arm.
Great. Yeah.
I'm ambidextrous. All righty.
You're amphibious.
Is that what you like, reptiles? Ew, you sick freak.
No, that's where you can breathe water and air.
Y'all are perverts. You know who's not a pervert though? That's Trey Lyle. And Bringing the Heat will be out Thursday with special guest Trey. Can I announce the guest?
Trey?
Right.
Okay,
yes.
Types fast.
Special guest Michael Waltrip.
Ooh.
Yes, folks. NASCAR on Fox. He does a plethora of different things. There's like 8 different things he's a part of. So he's going to be the guest on Bringing the Heat coming up on Thursday. Through the Gears on Friday. And then my man Eric got all the latest on Stock Car Scoop on Sunday. Maskey, are you going to be writing anything this week?
I already wrote it. Steven
Attaboy.
and I swapped columns for the week because he had something yesterday. So look on frontstretch.com for the up to speed column on how O'Reilly can benefit both the O'Reilly series, no apps, and the local racing series.
Awesome. Mr. Dalton Hopkins, are you writing anything, young man?
I am not. As a matter of fact, I am taking my fiance up to Savannah, Georgia to enjoy the 4th of July weekend. So
that makes me happy.
We're very excited for that. Don't get me wrong. It is not a weekend off because I will for sure still be coordinating our at track dudes at Chicago. So,
Hell yeah, brother.
great.
And he wrote a great piece on Friday. This past
Oh,
Friday.
I did. That's
He
true.
did.
I guess I should.
That
I guess I
was,
should
and then
plug
2
that.
days later, someone got mad at us. So it all
Yeah,
just,
yeah.
it all
That's
just
how you know
circles
it's
back
really
around.
good. Now check out the
Yeah.
last week's Fire on Fridays. It is an open letter to NASCAR PR teams. So check that out when you can. I went off a little bit there. So
You did good. I appreciate that.
I wish
and
I
by the
could
way,
write as passionately about that I do
I'm pretty
most
sure
other things.
Tom, our boss, Tom, probably edited that a little bit heavy. Just based on.
No, he really did.
Really?
That's the
Really?
thing. He only
Wow.
changed like a couple lines.
Oh.
It was a lot of that was me. A lot
I
of
was
that
figured
gonna
he
say
toned it down.
because
Nope.
based on what you've told me in the past, there's probably a lot. There's probably a lot you wanted to include.
No, he actually texted me. He's like, I didn't change a whole lot, and I'm like, yeah, I know. He changed like one of the last lines, and that's about it. So
Wow.
yeah, go check it out and
Okay.
be amazed.
Amazed. And by the way, the PR rep that got mad at us was deserved. So little
Yes,
faux
we
pas
got
on
it
our
was
part.
for a good reason.
Yeah. So
Slight
Our
mistake
bad.
on our part.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We may have killed someone in our video department, but that's okay. They're in a better place.
We didn't actually kill anybody.
I'm just making sure. That was a joke. That was a joke. With that being said, big thanks to our producer Trey Lyle. Hopefully Chris Graham will be back next week. He was doing a fun project. His little side gig was he was part of the production team for Banana Ball in Eugene, Oregon. I actually got to
Nice.
see him and meet up with him in the great state of Idaho last Wednesday. So awesome to connect there. But hopefully he'll be back here next Tuesday. Big thanks to Trey for filling in. Big thanks to Dalton Hopkins. Big thanks to Michael Massey Jr. III. I'm Brian Nolan. Thank you so much for joining the program. We'll talk with you guys next week.